Hello and welcome everybody to turning your outdoor living projects into impactful marketing, today's Halstead webinar series edition. We've done quite a few of these things, but this is probably one that is near and dear to my heart. Certainly a critical topic if we're going to grow a leading landscape design build firm. So thank you very much for joining us today. All right, so a little bit about me. Who am I? Why am I here to talk about this stuff today? My name is Corey Halstead. I am the co-owner of Halstead Media, an agency, a digital agency specialized in 100% the landscape, pool, lawn care, and outdoor living industry. So our clients are contractors, manufacturers of products, and dealers and distributors. So all of this really means is that everything that we're going to talk about today is laser focused on the landscape and outdoor living industry. I'm not talking about generic marketing talk, what would work for a restaurant, none of that stuff. It's completely specific to what we've talked about. Perhaps some of you have seen me around. I've done some talking for some of the industry associations and have been fortunate enough to work on some really cool campaigns for leading industry folks. So a ton of content out there that is designed to do many different things that maybe you have seen some of before. And we'll share some of it today as well. And then most recently, we launched Crew Recruiter, which is a recruiting framework for the landscape and outdoor living industry. So that is me. I am excited to be here, as I said. So today we're going to be talking about using our projects to sell more of the type of projects that we want to sell. So we're going to break today's chat into 4 sections. First off, the role of content. So before we can really dive into how to do this well, we need to understand why the heck we want to do it anyway, because it's really about a mindset and a commitment that is going to set you guys up to be successful, and gals. Number 2, we're going to do your projects and how though that is actually the best source of your content, and really how lucky you are to have that source of content in today's world. We're going to talk about just a few things about how to make it happen ongoing, because there are few things as important as consistency and commitment when it comes to any form of marketing, I've learned over the years. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to look at what a modern day case study is all about. When we say case study, what are we talking about? What should it look like and what should it include? So kicking things off, the role of content in itself. And basically when we think about digital, and we talk about marketing a design build firm, we talk about content because it permeates every single thing that we do, right? And it really, really is an amazing marketing and sales tool that without, we would struggle to really do much of anything. So this has not always been the case, right? In years of the past, for folks that have been in this game for a while, what we call the 79 days online rule didn't apply back then, of course, even when I first got into the industry 25 years ago. But today it's everything. And really it's the idea of understanding that your target ideal customer, the one that's going to hire you for whatever type of project your niche is, right? So we're not here to talk about it's only amazing if it's big, 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 big. We're talking about if you want to laser in on $20,000 backyards and turn and burn all season long, kudos, that's fantastic. But if your niche is $200,000 backyards, fantastic. Whatever it is for you, you have to understand who that client is, who the best client is, and that they are going to definitely see you online first before you ever get a chance to sell yourself live, in person, or on the phone. And it is true north of 80%. I think actually it's a stat that's across all industries. I think that if you took just our industry, it's north of 90%. Meaning that they're starting that process. What do I really want to do in my backyard? How do I get this front entrance redone? That is always beginning with a search or on social nowadays, right? So we need to understand that we have to be there for that whole 79 days. Even though it is a digital experience for them. And some might say impersonal, right? Because back when I started, it used to be a phone call to the company and you would come out to the kitchen table and you would guide and educate. Now the customer knows much, much more, but they still want transparency in their sales process and who they choose to work with. And they want a relationship, right? And the way that you can do that, and that's why content is so powerful and something we talk all about, is because you can actually make connections digitally if the content is good enough, and it's telling a story and it's reaching your ideal client or potential customer. Because there really is no marketing if there's not content. Think about it, right? If somebody comes to us at Halstead to build a website, or you want to do it yourself or work with another agency, these talks that we're doing, this webinar series, is strictly for offering insight, and hopefully helping folks get on the right path so that we can all raise the quality of the industry, right? So whoever you're doing this work with, maybe you've already had this experience, like, I need a new beautiful website, my competition is kicking my butt in that department, or I need to run social ads so that I can reach more of the right person more times. Well, that's fantastic. We can build a beautiful website, we can create perfectly targeted social ads, but if we have nothing to show them, then we are dead in the water, right? A website is only as good as the work that it is there to represent. And actually, later in my career now, I'm realizing that the job is really for that site to get the heck out of the way and just show exactly what you do and how you do it. So tactically speaking, when we think about content, right, which is video, pictures, and written word, that's what we mean when we talk about content. Let's just talk about a video shoot. If you take one, it's going to permeate and fuel website social, SEO, PPC, so your Google ads, your email marketing, and absolutely your sales, right? So every single thing you go to do, content sits at that head, right? And there's even some more called out on this graph here, on this graph, certainly branding. And somebody might say, well, how the heck does SEO relate to content, right? Well, if you are not producing amazing written word content, you're not going to win at SEO. And if you are not producing video that is being indexed by the second largest search engine, YouTube, then you're also going to be behind the game. So even things that seem more written word focused, video is important, right? Because even down the funnel more, let's say you have none of that, you get to rank your site, and for whatever reason, and you rank, and people are clicking into this site, you have decent traffic. You are not going to convert that traffic unless you are showing your projects in the way that that customer expects to see them. So it's critical throughout the entire process, right? And this has certainly changed, certainly changed. The industry that I came into when I was 14 years old is nothing like it is today, right? It is a massively growing industry, quickly growing industry. And the competition now is incredibly fierce, right? It used to be that if you just kind of came up a little bit, you had a decent website, you took some pictures with your phone and you updated that site, you were way ahead of the game. That is certainly not true. The competition now, in each individual service market, there is a leader, and it is about being that leader if you want to grow the company successfully, right? And the customer certainly is not going to accept a lacking experience. It used to be that the Apples and the Googles and the car and truck manufacturers of the world, yes, of course they have great marketing and great customer service and automated scheduling, all of these good things, because they're huge, big companies, but not my landscaper. He doesn't need that stuff. Well, digital and the sophistication of the internet has gone past that. And now the expectation of the consumer is right there along with those other larger companies. So if we understand that and we make a commitment to it, that content gives us all of those things. And literally the one thing you take away from today's talk is that without content, there is no marketing. Then that we are already ahead of the game. But now we're going to dive into what your content would look like, or should look like, if we're going to put you ahead of the game, right? Because now the deal is that everybody has content, right? You see this even in the competition or on Instagram now that all the outdoor living contractors are connected in one way, shape, or form across the country and even into Canada. You see that everybody is shooting some type of video with their phone. They're snapping pictures here and there. So everybody's coming on board. And then what happens then, right, is that, okay, well, now we have a ton of content. If I just do that, I will just be in the sea of other contractors. So how do I stand apart? Well, you have to stand apart with different, consistently changing content. And when you think about that, you have a massive advantage, because few things in the world are as different each and every time as one of your outdoor living projects, right? There are different site conditions, different product choices, different design considerations, different sizes, scales, styles, aesthetics. All these things are different each and every time, which means that you have a constant source of gold. Contrast that with some other type of a company, right? Even ours at Halstead, right? So we have to create content, right? Things like this, educational content. We have to go do all kinds of stuff to create it, just like a lot of other verticals and industries do. You guys, all you have to do is capture what is already happening in your world. When I talk about all those differences, right, of project size and scale, all that stuff, the next evolution of having that, if you're not there already, is to define what you are going to niche into. What is your specialty in terms of a project? Because those projects, I should say, then become your brand, what you are known for, right? And this is a huge topic, a huge point to understand, that your body of work is directly related, if not synonymous, with your brand. What do people think of when they think of your projects? They think of your brand the same way. So it's one and the same, which is why it's amazing that it can be, it's a double focus, right? Again, it's gold. Capture it and you win twice, right? And when you start to understand this and you start going down, it's this thing I've been on lately of like, you can see 5 steps ahead, but not 25. You got to start to get this stuff happening, and then you can see. And when you start to change the way that you look at the jobs that you're doing, it's almost like you're looking at it through the lens of like a media company would, or a Dwell magazine, or a website that you might follow, whatever that may be. You start to understand, oh, okay, so if I do this, this, and this, I can just tweak what's happening in real life, and it turns directly in there, and it changes everything about the way that you view the projects that you build each and every day, right? And when you do that, when you open that lens and you show the consumer what's happening, which is what we're going to look at here in a few slides, about opening that window to show what it's like to create and build and design those projects, then you are connecting more deeply with the consumer of today, right? And as that consumer ages down, meaning that as the one who is willing to spend the amount of money that you need to build a project that you're proud of, that person becomes younger, right? Then this is only more and more and more true. So now your 41-year-old customer certainly is looking for that level of transparency that they can find, right? And when you just capture your content, and when your content becomes your projects, you get a lot of benefits that align directly to what is important of that consumer of those projects, right? You get credibility and authority because you're out there showing exactly how this stuff happens. You are showing that you understand how to solve problems that maybe the competition does not. You're having conversations around this. And when you're producing content, you're certainly creating connections. And we're going to look at what that might look like. I call it the goosebump effect, right? You're out there building kick butt projects. We have to show them in a way that actually connects with the next consumer. And that is the theme of today's, right? Use a project, use the top 3 projects, use the top 10 projects. I say this to my guys coming up too. Use the one project. If you're looking to catapult to that next level, whatever it may be, it doesn't take a lot. You just have to put the time and energy into what you do have, your best stuff, right? And then you bring personality and style through just all of the stuff that you do on site. I'm not talking about being a TV star here. I'm talking about that your style is shown in the work that you do, and you're just going to bring that. And then you're going to bring transparency and accountability, because they're going to see, look, these are real people that are building my project or could be building my project. And this is their team. This is how they operate. It's not just something where I'm showing only these beautiful shots and I have to wonder whether that's actually their work and what went into creating it, right? So for you have this document versus create, right? So here's another main point. First main point, there is no marketing without consistent fuel of content. Second main point is that yours are your projects and all you need to do is document them. You do not need to be some creative genius, just capture what is happening, right? So here's an example of one of our newer clients. This is what they were doing prior to coming to Halstead. This is why I included this in this show. These guys are amazing. Their work is fantastic. They have just recently come on to Halstead, and this is what they were doing before. So this doesn't mean, oh, I need to have some massive marketing company behind me. This is what they were doing on a day-to-day basis. So when you document, you are showing the process. And that process means everything that goes into creating that project for Mrs. Jones, right? The planning, the design phase, the meetings, the progress of the build, right? And then of course the final, sell the sizzle of the final shot, right? So it's an example here, right on the left, we are starting a new project, right? We are showing renderings that we did. Are they amazing renderings? Yes, they are, but they can also be sketches and they can also be less developed renderings, whatever. Again, understand who your target customer is and then match that content, that quality of content to that expectation. But for this one, it's a beautiful 3D rendering on through the next stages of the build, right? And understanding, oh my gosh, this is the progress of that and showing and documenting all the way on through the final project, the final professionally shot photos, right? So when we document, we are having a consistent source of content, which is gold. So then, not only does that from the field, right, into your social news feed, once you're capturing this stuff at a consistent and optimized way, you then see that 25 steps ahead that you can't see now, which is that it just becomes everything. So that all of that stuff then goes into the website, of course, and becomes a case study that we're going to look at a little bit more in a couple. But the idea with this point is that there's a lot of people that say, oh, I don't have enough to post, or I don't have enough to fuel my ads or my site because I only do one project at a time, or maybe that project is not in a good state. I can promise you that once you start thinking like this and viewing it from the lens of a media company, right, then you will understand that every single day, I promise you, there is something that happens that would be interesting to your target customer. And that is just a matter of showing the journey, right? So these are rough photos. A lot of these photos are shot with an iPhone from the field, nothing crazy here, right? But we're showing craftsmanship, which thank goodness is in revival right now. The consumer that is voting with their dollars is bringing back the idea of valuing craftsmanship. It is happening over the last 3 years, and it could not be more true going into this year. Show what you do because it is valued by that consumer all the way on through, of course, the finished projects that are going to sell the sizzle, the lipstick shots, right? That is your content all the way through. So a lot of people think, okay, use my content to sell more, I will go get the finished job shot. Well, there's a lot more to it that you can benefit from, right? And these shots are professional shots. And if you are serious about being a leader in the outdoor living industry in the design build area, you have to pencil in or marker in, I should say, so that it cannot change, professional content at least once a year. It is hands down maybe the third point of today's show. So that is your content and how it becomes something that you can position yourself and sell more, right? But how do you make this happen on a tactical level, right? I cannot stress enough that it really is about getting started, because what you will learn when you do that is what will fuel the next steps that you take. And from the field, that's what we call these shots of construction, right? And I even call that the design phase as well. So it might be from the office at that point, but from the office or from the field, the process of bringing these jobs to life, you already on there. And I say you on that slide, but maybe depending on the size of your company, you haven't been on a job in 5 years. That's kudos, whatever. Or maybe you're on every job because that's what you love about it. Somebody from your company that is in leadership is checking in on these jobs all the time, right? Whether it's a foreman or a crew leader or you as the owner or whoever, right? So you're there already. Now it's just going to take a little bit of time, 20 minutes or so, to snap some shots about what's going on. That's tactically very easy, right? What's difficult, and the thing that I promise you is the biggest hurdle to why still the industry is starving for your pictures as a contractor, everybody wants them. The reason is that it's a commitment, and it is a change in how you think about gathering that content, because you wear way too many hats throughout a week. And there are a lot of fires to put out when you are building things from scratch, especially as the projects become more complex. So those things bubble to the top of the to-do list, and it becomes, I don't have time to do that. So if that is you, until you fix that and you realize that it is just as important as the other things on the list, it will be difficult for you to be successful with content. Now, again, speaking to where you're at in your journey, maybe that has to be you because you have more time than you do have budget to dedicate towards capturing this stuff. And that's going to have to be you and your crew leader that do it. Or maybe at this point, you have more budget than you have time, and you understand I have to just get somebody out on the road so that I'm capturing footage once a month all the time. However it is, you have to make it a simple process for you that you can commit to, right? And if it's going to be from the field and it's going to be you or a crew leader, then create a system that works for you. Doesn't have to be the right system, doesn't have to be somebody else's system, but shoot that stuff, get it into a folder somewhere that you can share and leverage so that it is a consistent process, right? So that's kind of the ongoing stuff, the ongoing process shots, right? There is a totally different mindset and a shifting of gears towards getting those shots that are the end shots, the sizzle shots when everything is done. And you have to go back to go forward with that, because if you are not going back to the job a year after it's been completely built, then you are not capturing the essence that needs to be captured in that video or in that photo. So you have to make a priority once again to say, okay, once a season, and this is not a lot. And I like to do real talk, right? So we work across the country with leading outdoor living design build firms. They are shooting video and photos monthly professionally. That's where we're at right now, right? So I'm saying once a year will be a big difference if you are not doing that already. So make it a priority. Set it and forget it in advance. Choose a vendor, whoever that's going to be. Again, doesn't matter to me if it's somebody local that you have worked with before, or a family member, or somebody that you know. Awesome. Use them, set it on the schedule, and forget it until it's time. If you are choosing more of an agency route, choose that partner in advance before things go haywire in the season. Get a rough schedule date on there. This is all obviously weather dependent, so it changes like crazy, but you're used to that in your life. But it has to be set in a window of time, and then you can say check mark onto the next thing, right? Choose that partner wisely. Do all of your homework and your research beforehand. A person who shoots amazing wedding photography is not necessarily and likely not going to shoot amazing outdoor architectural photography. It's a completely different skill set, right? So choose somebody that understands how to shoot video and how to capture that project the way that the consumer, again, who cares about anybody else, the way that the consumer wants to see that in order to make them make action, right? Make action, new leads, new sales. Make the most of one day. So what happens here when, especially this happens to my folks that have budget and it's allocated and they're shooting jobs regularly. things get out of hand when you go too high up or too I don't know what the right word is, artistic, but it's not really that, with a vendor. You have to understand where you are and what you need, right? There are videographers that are going to come with a team of 8 people, and they're going to take 4 days to shoot one project. There is a place for that in the market, I promise you, and they are talented and it's amazing. But I have yet to see a case from a contractor, outdoor living contractor, no matter the annual revenue, where that is a necessity. We send out what we call ninjas, literally 1, sometimes a supporting character for lighting and things like that, 2 people max. And we are flying drones, doing interviews, getting ground footage, doing time lapse if the job calls for it. Whatever we need to do, we are doing it in 1 day, and we are generally covering about 2 to 3 projects per day, depending, of course, on where they are in relationship to each other and the scale and the scope and all of that. But that can include everything from the customer, the homeowner interviews, your interviews as you walk through the project, which are imperative. I shoot no video unless there's going to be an interview, because it's not about the video drone, it's about the story. And that is what you see being done now. So again, going back to what are you going to do to stand apart? Let everybody else fly their choppy drone videos through their jobs and put it on social. That's fantastic. The homeowner doesn't want to see that, because they don't want to see a choppy shot job. They want to understand the story behind that job. That's how you connect marketing to sales. Anybody can fly a damn drone. That's not what people hire us for. It's about capturing the essence of that project. And you are going to create social first content, because here's the other thing that happens sometimes when you choose that vendor that's going to be, $25,000 to shoot one project, and you don't need that. The other thing that you get might be content that you don't need based on how you're going to use it. The videos that you need are social first videos. These are the ones that are going to power your paid social targeted ads. These are the ones that are going to go on your website, right? These are videos that you need that actually are tactical. You shoot them, you edit them, you can put them to work the next day. Not like, all right, I have this video, now what am I going to do with it? Because it's not going to perform on social. Has to be social first. And there's a bunch of things. We could have another hour-long session on what that means in terms of creative, but I'll give you a hint. Usually it does not include putting your logo huge in the beginning, because nobody cares about that. It's not going to get them to stop. And usually it also includes some type of a massive visual burst in the first 3 to 5 seconds. A couple of tidbits, right? But that's what I mean by social first video. So make sure that you right size what you're going to get from your vendor, right? And make sure that it fits into your budget accordingly. Unless you're trying to get featured on some sort of national TV or Dwell case study or something like that, I promise you that a more tactical daily shoot is going to be everything that you need and more. And I tell you, when we talk about this video, there are a few things that revolutionize companies as much as getting video shot of your job. Hands down, it's one of the biggest things. Okay, so we understand now, during the process and after the process, all of this stuff then comes together to form what is the modern day case study. Okay. And there's that theme again about stories. When you think about case studies, we're not thinking about taking a bunch of one-off shots from a bunch of different jobs that we've done over the last 25 years and putting it on a page on a website. Those, what I call dump all galleries, are gone. Say goodbye. Goodbye. If you have that page on your website, you are behind. So what is it doing instead? And I say almost to that because there's a little bit of a use that you can pivot to, but mainly what is going in place of that is actual case studies, right? So you're taking job by job and telling the entire story of that project. That is how a more sophisticated shopper that is looking for a contractor to do larger jobs in particular is going to research and want to know. They're going to want to know the story. What problems did you solve on that job site? What did the customer ask for versus what they got? Why did you choose the materials that you chose? Why did you choose to handle the elevation change the way that you did? Those kinds of things, all along with supporting video and photo. And definitely the story and written word is going to be the difference for you, right? And then it's all integrated, right? So let's look at the written word piece. What do we think that's doing? That's obviously telling the story, which is imperative, but it's also the best SEO that you can possibly do. That has a location, the job site city, and it has a bunch of rich keyword stories. That is an amazing SEO page, and it'll rank. So photo, video, and written word is what should be included every time we want to tell the story of a project. We're getting rid of our dump all galleries of all the jobs that we've ever done. This is about curation, guys. You know, I can countless companies that we have helped raise their quality of project and size of project over working with them for 8+ years. It's about curation. Get rid of the idea that you need to have represented every service that you do and every job that you've ever done over the years. Get that out. It's about showing the best of what you've done and showing what most aligns to what you want to do more of. That is how you use your outdoor living projects to sell more. The only time that we still use these galleries is in a very eloquent way. We often call them like glimpses or elements, something like that. And we create a page that just has like little close-ups, little like vignettes on a job site, for instance, right? Or maybe you want to highlight some craftsmanship about how you handle coping on a pool or a custom fireplace. These kinds of photos are good for that because they're actually just they are designed to be digested that way, right? But that is the only time you want to have this dump all gallery, and it's all about the story. So let's see if we can play this thing to show you just a second. We're not going to watch this whole thing, but I want to show you what a video, and more video, what a video case study looks like.
I asked them what they really wanted, and they said, we want you to go crazy, do what you do best. I had no limitations on my ideas, and that was fun because I was able to play with a couple different concepts and include basically all the bells and whistles that somebody would want in their yard. So some of the unique features were the pergolas. We actually just put in another pergola over the living room area. And then it also transitions over. There's a great water feature over on the side to give them a nice ambiance and the sound of the water. The fireplace is just one of the custom features that we put in here. And so we've gotten a lot of wow factors out of this project. First time I bring people back here, I've seen a few jaws drop. It's pretty self-satisfying to see that reaction to this.
All right. So what does that do, right? That is telling, it's making people be able to understand what is possible, which is the huge thing here, right? This thing is jumping all around, sorry. So you just have to kind of get in the customer's mind and understand what we can highlight in each project. And the details, when we're doing this, the details definitely matter. Okay, so when you think about, I guess this is a great point. It goes back again to who are you trying to attract and convert. The details matter as much as that customer cares about them. Make sense? So they do indeed matter, but where you are at in your level is how much they matter. This is another example of a client. On the left is what they had when they came to us. Great job, nice details, great craftsmanship, right? Nice intimate backyard, all the things. When they shot this with their iPhone, they shot the pool open and not covered. Hey, that's amazing. They shot the water feature on, didn't quite get to the fire, but that's okay. A lot of things are really good. And if you are at a level where the consumer is going to feel like this is going to work for them, kudos, rock and roll all day, all the way to the bank. They were looking to elevate and represent their body of work and make it appeal to, again, using their projects to sell more of a higher end project. So that's one of the tasks that we had in our working relationship. On the right is the shot that we shot, right? This is not to say, oh my gosh, how amazing are we? That's not what the point of this is. And there's likely people that have better photography, again, because it only matters how much it matters. But this is, you can see the difference between the two. And on one on the right is something that invites people to picture themselves there, right? Just the lighting, just the sun, the time of day that it was shot, the fire is there, some vignetting, things like that really matter, right? We cut out the small, not fully grown in plantings. We shot it in a way that really feels inviting, right? This actually got this contractor into a manufacturer's catalog, which is a fantastic segue into a point that if all of this has not convinced you to prioritize content and choosing, to picture your body of work in the correct way, in a way that is up to par and industry leading, maybe this will. You hold the key 100% to what this industry needs. So again, my background, right? 25 years in the industry. I've worked at the contractor level, the dealer level, and on the product side of the industry. And I can promise you that on the product side of the industry, the manufacturers, the stone products and grill products and landscape lighting products and pergola products and furniture products that you put into your projects, they need the content in order to represent their products. And who holds the key? You, because you have the direct application of those products. They want your content. And what that means is that you can greatly maximize your reach, and definitely, I'm not going to promise this, but I've seen it countless times, pay for the entire effort in a partnership that leverages that relationship and it's a win-win for everybody involved, right? Maximizing your reach means, yeah, maybe you spent 12 grand over the last 2 years on video, but then those projects were picked up by the manufacturers in there, featured in the catalog, featured on the website, featured on their social, and shared by everybody in between. And now your reach is 20x. This point cannot be understated. I've done a whole talk on this actually at HNA in the past, where dealers and contractors and manufacturers really need to all work together, but you actually do hold the key. This was a slide right from within there. So leverage your partners, your dealers, right? The one really strong dealer relationship that you have a conversation around capturing projects. I guarantee you a lot of times they're going to be interested in it, and then go back to the manufacturer, right? And then if you fill that gap, that content gap, you win. Here's an example of that very thing.
My name is Travis Breininger. I'm co-owner of Nature's Accents Landscape Services Incorporated. One of the really nice features of this property is it's surrounded by farmland, mountain views, and the country roads lead right into this Unilock driveway entrance. We decided on the Unilock's Westport product for several different reasons. The modular design and the easy clean technology. Any spills, whether it's wine or food or motor oil, can easily be cleaned with a wet paper towel versus a harsh chemical treatment. We selected Unilock's Rivercrest wall for the look of natural stone, but the ease of installation, which in turn is a labor savings for our clients. The walls on this project were installed in one day with a 2-man crew. One thing we recognize as an installer is the density of the product line.
All right. So here's a video that we shot that was in partnership between the manufacturer Unilock and the contractor, their authorized contractor program, right? This contractor's work was featured in a lot of different things. The video was, I can tell you that it was financially rewarding for everybody involved, right? It is something that you can really leverage if done properly. And partnering with people that understand the different segments of the industry can really help you connect those dots. But it is literally networking, which means that content has so much power across all different efforts, not just marketing, more recently sales. Think about sharing these videos with your customers during a sales process. What does that do for their trust? What does that do for their transparency? What does that do for putting you on a pedestal above other folks, right? It is amazing. So, but I guess all of that, right? And this is something that I've been on for the last year or so, is that you put and your team put so much time, blood, sweat, energy, love into the projects that you create for your clients, right? It is truly, you wouldn't do it day in and day out if you did not love it in one way, shape, or form. The fact of creating something from nothing and standing by that product, which is the outdoor living space, that is your legacy. And it blows my mind how many people can do this day in and day out for 20 years and literally have not captured the best work that they've done, right? Because that is about legacy. Think about if you have children, what are you going to pass down? What is going to stand longer than you in your time? And that is capturing the creations that you've done, right? And I think that legacy is huge in why somebody would prioritize capturing their projects and using them for marketing. So that is the conclusion of today's talk. Again, my name is Corey Halstead. I really and truly hope that you were able to get some value out of this. If you have follow-up questions, if you just want to follow along with some of the video stuff that we're doing or content stuff that we're doing, the Instagram is